My loves, welcome back to another video here on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. Thank you for joining me again on this channel. So today I have something really interesting that I want to talk with you about. So I do these like weekly emails to my subscribers, my email list. And if you're not on there, like definitely make sure when you get off of this video that you subscribe because it's free and it's just so powerful and so intense. And it's like ahead of when I create these kinds of videos, it's like as soon as I'm feeling it or as soon as a message is coming in, I'm sharing it before I really have time to package it up nicely. It's kind of nice though, to get that like raw, authentic message coming through. So I actually created, or my email this following week that happened was about Pleiadian sleeper agents, right? Now this I could tell was such a big topic that I was going to have to do more. I was going to have to like definitely go deeper into what that is, more than I could in like a short email. So that's what I'm here to do today, because I think you guys already know this about me, but before I go to film any of these videos, I am creating sacred space, connecting with all of the, my higher guides, and the Galactic Federation of Light is somebody I connected with today. And I asked them what is the most important thing for my audience, and they kept showing me that email, and they're like, there's more to say. I was like, I had a feeling, I kind of forgot about it. I mean, I forget everything I channel. If you're a channeler, let me just center myself here. I feel like I want that lamp to be beside me, not directly behind me. Okay. If you're a channeler, you probably also feel like you forget everything that you channel almost immediately because it's too much to hold on to. I could channel the most like incredible thing and it's gone, like almost as soon as I'm done. I keep seeing orbs. Oh my God. Especially when it's client stuff. That's immediately gone. And I have people come back to me and be like, remember me? This happened or that happened. And I'm just like, yeah, I promise you I don't, but I love you so much. It's too much. It's like, it's too many hours of channeling. It's too many people. I'm channeling for everything, right? My business, my clients, my students, my membership, YouTube, like, oh my God. So let's jump right in. So I have some notes today that I'm just going to pull up on my screen here that I can see. And so basically what they had me do was pull up the email about Pleiadian sleeper agents, and then I was writing in a different color font all of their additional notes to come in. So I want to start this by saying that this is a message from the Pleiadian Council for Humanity. This is a branch of the Galactic Federation of Light. I do have a lot of videos about who the Galactic Federation of Light are. I truly have always gotten such a beautiful energy from them, and they're not just one big, it's not like a government where the Galactic Federation of Light is like this, a few people that are making all these decisions. Not at all. They have one representative from every star nation in the Milky Way be the Galactic Federation of Light, and then each one of those representatives has their own separate council. So it's really like the Galactic Federation of Light is more like a term for this umbrella of the Milky Way, of each star nation, and then underneath that umbrella is all these little councils. Like I talk to the Council for Humanity often, but this is specific to the Pleiadians, and the other Council for Humanity I talk to is more of like a mixed Milky Way mix of like mantis beings and all these different beings. So this is specifically the Pleiadian Council. Okay, so just Pleiadian message for today. Anyway, so I want to read the message, but while I'm reading it, I want to share with you the additional pieces that they wanted to add in. So I'm going to read the original message, but I'm going to keep interrupting myself with the additional things. So what I'm going to do is put the unedited message in the description if you want to just see it as it came through originally, which would have been also in the email if you're on the subscription. And again, make sure you sign up for those emails, okay? But let's break down that message with the extra things that they wanted me to make this, okay? So the very first thing that this message, okay, Pleiadian Council for Humanity, message for us, very timely. It's a right now message, okay? The first thing that they said to us, and when I say us, I mean the awakened collective, okay? Not humanity. The awakened collective is who they're speaking to today. The very first thing they said is, there is more Pleiadian support with you now than we have ever organized before. That's how they started the message. Like, we are all in, doing all of the organized support that we can. And they're going to explain that in a second of what that support looks like. But the first thing that came in is, why? Right? Like, why now? Why is there more Pleiadian support for us now than there ever has been before? What makes now the time for that? And the answer to the why now is, they showed me a vision of a lion head and then stars. And I was like, oh, 8-8 just passed, right? What a lot of people call the Lion's Gate. So they were talking about how so many people had joined together in groups, large groups, that created a unified intention. This is how powerful our intentions are, of love and peace, and that this created openings in the AI grid. So I do want to explain what that is in case you're not familiar, okay? So there is if you watched last week's video about how to be a badass grid worker, you already know this, but if you didn't, let me just quickly explain. The AI grid is not the organic planetary grid. Gaia's regular, like a part of her grid that goes around her, is just outside of the atmosphere. But inside of that, closer into us, is this false grid. It's like, it's the matrix grid. That's what people call it, or you can call it the AI grid or the inorganic grid. Now, it's a grid that is invisible unless you're astral traveling, that is made up of frequency, the 3D frequency. Exactly. They want to keep us locked into the lower frequency. So everything below neutral on the scale, when you're looking at your scale of emotional frequency, everything below neutral. Okay, so that's what we're locked into. But during that 8-8, there were all of these groups that were so unified in their intention to create like love and peace. And I'm seeing like little beams of light going through this grid and creating openings. And they were able to send in support through those openings of the grid. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the Pleiadian starships in a second that came through. The other answer to why now is they showed me a calendar and like hands of time spinning on a clock. And so I get the vision first, and then I get I hear the message after. So that was the vision. And then it was followed with the message. The closer that we get, like earthlings, like the planet and the animals and everything about Earth, nature kingdom, animal kingdom, human kingdom, Gaia herself, the whole planet, the closer that we get to our golden era, and the deeper that we move into the photon belt, the more access they are able to take for us, right? So this has to do with contracts that Earth has that not a lot of people talk about. So Earth has these contracts in place where, because she is a school, this maybe needs to be its own video, and tell me if you think so, because I just felt the enormity of what I'm about to say. And I was like, oh shit, that's a whole other video. So I'm really going to try not to digress for too long, but it's so big. It's like Earth has these contracts, right? And because she is a school, she allows certain things. Okay, so Earth is proven to have a golden era. It's a circle I'm doing here. So she's got a golden era followed by around 12,000 years of descension, dark ages, followed by 12,000 years of ascension, golden era again. And she's never going to stop. Okay, it's not like, oh my God, finally we're in the golden ages and let's make sure we never leave. That's not a school. That's not Earth, right? That's not the point. She's always moving around this cycle. It's a cycle because it's a school and there's different kinds of lessons to be learned and different kinds of advanced things. And depending on what you need to learn is when you choose to visit Earth. If you are on Earth at this time, as we're clicking up towards the top at the golden era, you're on an ascension path. If you visit Earth during a descension, you're on a descension path. And there's many, many videos here on my channel explaining why we have to choose to descend and ascend, because our soul journey is the same as what Gaia's is. We have everything. We're with God source, and then we slowly descend down through the dimensions as low as we're willing to go to meet our shadows. And then we ascend back up through healing and wholeness again to come back up to God source. And that's a full soul cycle. Many, many lifetimes in one soul cycle, hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe more than that. Like, it really depends on the person, how quickly they move through things. So Gaia has a circular cycle. We as souls have a circular cycle. So because Gaia has contracts in place that when she's on a descension path, certain things are allowed to happen to create a lower energy on her. You know, like she knows and she's a part of, I'm choosing to just, oh my God, it's literally needs its own video. Just like a soul would write into its own contracts. Gaia is a soul with her own soul contracts, just like you have your own soul contracts where you've chosen, you know, you have in lifetimes to suffer greatly because you had to learn or you had to balance karma or you needed to descend down to a lower dimension to have some other experience. How else are you going to descend? It's the same for Gaia. So these soul contracts, depending on where she's at in her cycle, allow certain things, reptilians, like dark agenda forces, off-world beings to land, freaking Egypt and what happened there, like Atlantis, all the things, there's an allowance and there's a purpose to it. Everything is divinely orchestrated. That is the incredible beauty of this, is how the shadows serve the light, how the shadows serve a soul, how the shadows serve the lesson. This is the beauty of it. And this is where when you see these spiritual teachers out there saying our ascension is at risk if we don't do this and this, it's not going to happen. Let me tell you right now, that cycle cannot be stopped. Like we are moving not just Gaia, but our entire solar system. You know, what is the thing I learned in school? Man very early made jars stand up nearly perpendicular. That's like Mars, Venus, Earth, I don't know, all the ones. But anyway, that whole solar system is moving into a photon belt of light, and the deeper and deeper we go, the golden era cannot be stopped. And then when we move through it, again, this is, everything is circles in the universe. It's, I swear to God, it's like sacred geometry of the flower of life, because that's also a circle. Our solar system moves in a circle through a photon belt of light. In case you're interested, it's around Alcyone in the Pleiades. Oh my God, back full circle to this video. There's a photon belt of light that we travel through our whole solar system, and then we travel away from it. And the further and further away we get, guess what? Those are our dark ages. And then as we move in, we have our golden ages. That's Gaia's soul journey, okay? And you have your own. So the whole point of this was that this is why, okay? Like when I'm asking these Pleiadian councils, why now? Why is there more support now for us than there was 5 years ago or whatever? These are the reasons why, okay? Because of the contracts in place, people are losing their power and their access, and other people are gaining power and access, as would be on a cycle of Gaia and the things that she knows that she needs as she's coming into a golden era, okay? Again, does that need to be a whole video? I think maybe. You let me know. Okay, so back to this beautiful message from the Pleiadian Council for Humanity. What kind of support are they sending? So the first one is starships in your atmosphere. So there's more starships in our atmosphere, Pleiadian starships. They use the word starships. I've never said that before. It feels a little weird to say. I don't know why I would rather say like craft or spaceships. Starships it is though. So there's more Pleiadian support with you now than we've ever organized before. Starships are now in your atmosphere, breaking up the chemtrails and intercepting harmful signals broadcast from the AI false planetary grid that seek to ignite new levels of hate between groups. Okay, so that's what the starships are doing. That's how they're supporting us. Let's break that down. When they're talking about them breaking up chemtrails, again, why now? And the answer to that was that these have been increasing intensely. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed there are no more like clear days in the sky, and if you see it, it's not there later? Like it's an intense ramping up of chemtrails. And I mean, I'm sure everybody in this audience knows what that is. And this isn't like a tinfoil hat thing. This is like a very obvious, just go look outside thing compared to the world that we used to live in as children. And now it's all created to keep us sick, to keep our frequency low, to keep us docile. Like the things that they put in the chemtrails would remind you of like the things that they put in your food, like fluoride and I mean, other like GMOs and like other chemicals that are all built to keep us in a lower frequency, which makes us easier to control and easier to manage, I guess, like cattle, right? Which isn't nice to think, but it's true. And it's the way that we're viewed by the top 2% of humanity, which, and when I say top 2%, I mean like the billionaire clubs and also the inner earth, reptilians and everything like that. So the chemtrails have been increasing intensely. And then this whole, what's the harmful signals then that are being broadcast from the AI false planetary grid? What are these signals? Okay, because we see, yes, they're seeking to ignite new levels of hate between groups. You can see that everywhere. But what does exactly did they mean by harmful signals that are being broadcast? Well, the first one is signals direct from the grid, right? So the grid itself has the ability to send focused frequency and even choose certain countries to blast it at. So if they don't want to send it to everybody, they can choose certain countries that are already struggling. They love to kick people while they're down, basically, right? So if there's a country really experiencing like war or horrible, violent crimes against humanity, which is again just war, or whatever it is, or if there's some kind of like when we were going through like our pandemic, stuff like that, well, they will kick while you're down, no matter what it is, whether it's a pandemic and everyone is sick or whether it's a war or whatever. They're going to focus even more intense low frequencies on that poor suffering country because they're just like trying so hard to get everyone to break, and that they know that it will ripple out to the rest of the world. Another way that they're doing this, so that is like technology built into the false grid, but another way that they do this that is just like almost just as harmful, truly, is mass media, right? Like mass media sinks. We see all of the news stations reporting on the same things. They never report on anything positive. They only ever tear us down, and they are all telling lies like crazy. They only tell the fabricated news stories that they're allowed to tell. And I've seen so many videos where people create where they show how much they parrot each other, right? Like 11, maybe more, 20 different news stations are all saying the exact same words and phrases because it's a spell to bring us down, right? But another way is infiltration to social media. So because social media was never really a big thing for like your parents probably, right? It was more about like the news at that point. But now social media is where people get their news. So you better believe that these dark agenda, dark governments, shadow news, whatever, all these different branches of these dark agendas are absolutely using social media. It's fully been infiltrated in every way, even acting as a regular person commenting to incite hate, acting as entertainment, like Perez Hilton and like TMZ and like those kinds of things as well. It's all about tearing people apart and inciting hatefulness, even if they're targeting a celebrity or whatever. They just, how can we get everybody to gang up and bully this one person? It's not about the person. It's about the emotional energy that, again, what does it do? It keeps you low. And when you're low, you're able to, easier to command. Okay. It's never about the details of these things. Although the details can be horrific, it's always just about the emotional frequency to have you locked in, right? Lock you in hate, lock you in separation, lock you in horror, lock you in whatever the new thing. The flavor is fear always, but lock you in shame, lock you in whatever. Okay. So let's move on to how else they are supporting us, this more Pleiadian support than they've ever organized before. So that was the Starships. Let's move on to Pleiadian sleeper agents. Okay, what a cool term that they shared with me. Pleiadian sleeper agents are being activated in political regimes worldwide and are already gaining access to closed-door policies. These so-called sleeper agents are pre-destined humans with higher levels of Pleiadian DNA than the average person, and they have agreed within their soul contracts to experience a spontaneous awakening at a designated time. So that's all pretty self-explanatory, but freaking cool. But the only comment that was added in here was, I wrote no sheeple here. The reason I wrote that is because a lot of people are like, oh, if people don't get it yet, then they're not trying to be awakened. They're sheeple. They're never going. They, they've got their head in the sand. We've all said stuff like that, right? It's important to understand that some of these people have predestined soul contracts to not awaken until their designated time when it's going to be the most impactful. And so understand that there are larger hands at play here, right? And it's important to not judge people that you don't deem awakened, okay? Like, because they could be playing a very important role like this. Okay. The next thing here is their awakening is triggered through a peaceful abduction, where Pleiadian technology is being used to activate these sleeper agents into a 6D frequency and specific Pleiadian wavelengths, so that they become a walking beacon of this energy. And when I asked for more information about that, they just showed me Medbeds, right? Medbeds were a Pleiadian creation that has become so well known and so like famous throughout the Milky Way, not just with humanity. So many different star nations will come from far and wide to experience these Medbeds because they truly are miraculous and something to be very proud of for the Pleiadians. So they're using the Medbeds. So they're peacefully abducting people that they know are supposed to have this spontaneous awakening, this sleeper agent, and then activating them with these Medbeds into the 6D frequency, which is like mainly a frequency of the Pleiadians. Some can be 7D for sure. And then also just specific Pleiadian wavelengths. So those wavelengths, what does that mean? What's a Pleiadian wavelength? It's a frequency transmission encoded with humanitarianism, because Pleiadians are humanitarians, equality, hope, and the peacekeeper archetype. Pleiadians are very, very into like volunteer, humanitarian, peacekeepers, ambassadors of peace. Like all of that really speaks to their character and their personality traits. And that's what these people then become, this walking beacon of that energy being sent out. So imagine how that would change things. And truly, I mean, they wouldn't necessarily even have to say anything. I mean, they probably do. They probably start introducing ideas around these beautiful wavelengths, but they might not even need to, because they're just sending off this signal behind these closed door meetings where this energy can't normally get at all. So that's really powerful. So they carry that frequency transmission, that encoding of the humanitarianism, equality, hope, peacekeeper into deeper branches of the government where we have previously not had access. And that's what the Pleiadians said. And so I asked, okay, can you give us any insights into what these branches are? And they said all branches with a dark agenda. So police, big pharma, banking, stocks. I never thought like stocks and bonds or whatever, what's it called? Like Wall Street. So I feel like crypto is a part of that. So stocks, obviously the military, all of the branches where there is any kind of corruption or dark agendas is where they're trying to get these sleeper agents into. And they said one other thing that I think you're going to find really interesting. These sleeper agents often become whistleblowers. So that now just has me thinking about like every whistleblower that I know. And I'm like, are they fucking Pleiadian? Like they probably are, because the Pleiadian has the courage for that and has like the deepest desire to bring what is right. Like it's all about justice, right? And truth and equality. Like they're so passionate about it. I have this feeling now, like, I mean, I can't say all, but like that a lot of whistleblowers are exactly what we're describing right now. Maybe somebody that was doing the work in that faction of the government. Like think about military whistleblowers. Well, they weren't originally. They were a part of the military. Like they were pilots and they were this and they were that. And then something happens. Something turns on in them. And all of a sudden they're telling the truth to the public at their own detriment usually, right? So this is it. That's a sleeper agent. It's like a whistleblower, right? They have a spontaneous awakening. It's a part of their soul contract. And it's so cool that more than ever before are being activated into that. Okay. So the next thing that they're saying here, they're still talking about how these whistleblowers are being treated and how they're being activated. And they're saying through regular visitations with these sleeper agents. And when they said the word visitation, I saw the word abduction. So they're talking about how they are regularly abducting these Pleiadian sleeper agents on regular intervals. They don't just get taken up to the starships once to have their activation. Okay, now they're on track, and then send them back. They bring them back pretty regularly, these regular intervals, because they need to gain precious insights through reading their memories. Right? They sift through, they're able to like really see like a movie, everything that's going on behind those closed doors. And by doing that, they can gain like precious insights from these brave people. And then they can not just read their memories and see what's happening, but they can then insert things, not in a negative way, but like insert like an intention, like instilling in the sleeper agent inspiration to do this or say this, little nudges, little intuitive ideas of how they can play the role the best, the role of the new Earth societal template, right? So these sleeper agents, these whistleblowers, these activated Pleiadians now in human form are now not just walking beacons of that beautiful wavelength of the peacekeeper, but they are walking beacons of the new Earth societal template. It's alive inside them. Like, where does New Earth exist? In our hearts, and we're going to create it together. And these beautiful, brave humans are taking that too into these closed door meetings. New Earth societal template, where things are done out in the open and not behind closed doors, where things are done fairly, where everyone is considered, like so different than the way that it's done now, where there's no lies. Okay. And then this Pleiadian Council for Humanity said, it is our hope that over time, these sleeper agents will come into full remembrance of the mission, thus giving us even greater access and influence through them, because then they would be working together cognitively and not just in their subconscious. However, it is not a necessary piece to these new contacts. However, they can do it without that, right? And so that's up to the individual then, whether or not they're going to come into full remembrance of the mission, which means remembering their soul contracts. Like, how many people really are able to remember their soul contracts? Like, if you think about percentage wise, not like all that many. And so what's important to remember is, again, that we don't judge what someone's awakening looks like, because this awakening might not look like ours, right? There's different levels of awakening. There's people that are just interested in energy. Maybe they really love yoga or feng shui or acupuncture, and that is their level that they're comfortable with of an awakening. It's all that's necessary for them to do their mission. And then other people want to go deeper, and they want to talk about law of attraction, and they want to talk about how you're the creator of your own reality. That's deeper. And then other people want to go even deeper, and they want to talk about parallel dimensions, and they want to talk about timelines, and they want to talk about like how the fabric of the universe. That's really deep. And then there's us, we at the end, talking about starseeds and like galactic beings, and I mean everything we talk about on this channel. It's like pretty extreme stuff, right? So it's so important to not judge, and to also not feel like someone's awakening won't be world changing just because it doesn't look like yours. And we don't need everybody to feel like they're a starseed to change the world. Okay, everyone is going to have different levels of awakening. There is the same space at the table for the yoga teachers and the Reiki masters and the feng shui masters. Like, it's all just as powerful. It's all just as powerful and worthy and life-changing and world-changing and new earth worthy, right? It is. Okay, good. And so then the last message from the Pleiadian Council for Humanity is a message for you now. And what they said was, to those of you fulfilling these covert roles across humanity, stepping deeper into your missions each year. That's so many of us. We salute you, and we are with you. And so I asked them, why did they add that message on? And again, you can see the original message without all of these edits in the description of the video. But I just thought that stood out as being so powerful, To those of you fulfilling these covert roles across humanity, stepping deeper into your missions each year, we salute you and we are with you. I'm like, why did you add that in? Like, if we're going to break down everything, can you just tell me a little bit about why you thought that should be in there as well? And they said, it's so important for them to know they're not alone. And I was like, I don't know if I want to cry or what, like, just so many chills when they said that. It's so important for them to know they're not alone. You're not alone, Starseed. You are not. You not only are you not alone on this planet, but you are being supported by galactic councils. Like, how incredible is this? This information is so powerful and so deep and so helpful. And on that note, I also want to say that if you are feeling like what they said at the end of that message, that you're stepping more deeper into your mission each year, and we salute you. If that's you, thank you. Just thank you so much for doing this work and for being here on Earth with me. And so no one feels like they have to do it alone. It's so important for us to not feel alone. But if you are really, really trying to build like a spiritual business because you know that you're gifted and you have offers and you are so done with the 9 to 5, or you're already left the 9 to 5, but now you really need your spiritual business to do more for you, to support you so that you can feel comfortable, I have the perfect container for you. It's Starseed Business Academy. It is something I've never done before, where I am speaking and creating classes specifically for you, for the person that wants to leave the 9 to 5 fully, for the person that maybe likes their job because they feel like they're making a big difference in what they do, but they still have gifts and they want to offer services. So they want to create a side hustle that's like abundant, but meaningful too. That's the second group. And then the third group, spiritual entrepreneurs in their first 2 years of business that are really needing to solidify their foundations so that they can count on income, like recurring monthly revenue, and ready to scale to the next level so that they can see what they're capable of with their gifts and the abundance that they can bring in and the frameworks that they can create in their business. And create even passive income. Like how wonderful would that be, right? If you fall into one of those categories, there is not going to be anything more powerful than this, okay? You go ahead and look. I am for you. I know that. I'm here for you. I was placed here for you. I was placed here to do this exact work for you. This is my mission, right? This is what I am stepping deeper into all the time. And I know that my business offers thus far have been more for maybe the further along. And I'm sorry for that. And I hear you and I'm showing up. Okay. Because so many people have said to me, how can you expect me to commit to that? Or time-wise or financially, it's too much if I'm just getting started. And I'm hearing all of this and formulating something. And I want you to know that when I say I'm creating it just for you, it's brand new stuff. Okay. The live classes that I'm teaching inside the Starseed Business Academy, I've never taught before. I'm making the lessons from scratch. It's going to be so powerful because not only can I remember what that's like to be where you're at, but I'm here now. So I've got the whole path, the whole roadway, the whole bridge to how to get here, right? Which is a multi-6-figure business. I've got you. And this is created just for you, fresh, brand new, potent, live. I'm just going to throw recordings at you. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to teach lessons, and then I'm going to hold space for hot seat coaching and Q&As. We're going deep together. You do not want to miss this. You do not want to miss this. I have packed so much value into this program. I tried to add it all up. It was over 10K of value. It's only an 8-week program, but you get lifetime access to it all. So you don't have to don't feel like you only have 8 weeks to take it all in. I know it takes time to learn these kinds of things. Lifetime. Just have your whole life then, because you will be able to continue going back to these classes over and over again. And there's a huge training library I'm including that is just for you for life. So it's over 10K value, but I'm doing it at a budget that makes sense, right? $250 a month for the basic entry level one. Yes, there is a VIP level if you want to have personal sessions with me. So it's just you and me building your business together. I mean, I don't need to tell you how powerful that would be. If that's for you, amazing. And if not, it's okay. You're going to get everything but those sessions, right? So I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. I mean, I just can't say how important it is for you. Look at the time that we're in. Look at what's happening. Like, even the Pleiadians know it's time. Like, my God, they are like, okay, it's time to organize. It's time to get going. It's time, like, they know, you know, I know you feel it. There's no reason not to. At this price, at this like 8-week, it's not a huge commitment at 8 weeks. I know I'm the right teacher for you. Like, I don't even question that. If you're in my audience at all, I'm for you. And I know you know that too. Let me prove it to you. If this is your first time working with me, it's going to blow your freaking socks off. Let's change your life together. Okay, let's do it. Because I've done it and I know it's possible. And I also know it's not rocket science. And I know you can do it. So, you know, like, let's do it. What are you waiting for? It's time to stop waiting. Okay. Thank you so much, my beautiful Starseeds. Check out the link to the Starseed Business Academy, but don't wait because we start September 5th. Do you know how soon that is? Like, get on it. Let's go, people. Get signed up. Don't miss this. You don't want to be late on this one, okay? And that's all I have for you today. Don't forget. So the things you don't want to forget, you want to be subscribed to this YouTube channel. Obviously, you don't want to miss anything. Subscribe to the email list because they get those raw, unfiltered, awesome things that come in once a week. Go check out the Starseed Business Academy. Do not wait to reserve your seat at that price. There's no reason to wait. And if anybody has any questions about anything that I've talked about, the best place to come find me is over on Instagram because I see those messages and I'm on there a lot more often than here. Okay, so come on over to Instagram and message me there with questions about the container and the Business Academy or all the things. All right. Thank you so much, my loves. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And before we go, please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. I love you, beautiful Starseed. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.